Hey everybody, so this is Doug here from the U-Frontier. So last week I was talking a little bit about free will and about agenda setting. Today I'm going to be talking about free speech because it's a topic that's in the news a lot, that you hear about a lot, usually, often about the importance of it, but also about people trying to take it away usually. And I do think that obviously free speech is incredibly important. And by the way, free speech, it's a natural right. It's something that only the government can take away or other people can take away from you. It's not something that has to be granted to you. It's, you can speak freely whenever you want on your own. If you want to say something, that's your right. That's something that you say. It's only that other people can punish you for saying that or stop you from saying that. Now, obviously, free speech, using your free speech doesn't mean that what you say is right. It doesn't mean what you say is good. It doesn't mean that you should, be an edgelord and be hateful to people just because that's in your free speech. But that, in fact, is in your free speech, right? There's no such thing as just saying, well, this speech is mean and offensive. So that's not actually free speech. That's not actually a real thing. At least in terms of, legal law, that's very much not a real thing. Like the government doesn't have a right to take that away based on what they deem offensive. But I want to talk about something even more important, I think, than like the legal definition of free speech, which is just what does it mean to exercise free speech? Because we really seem to understand the importance of free speech the most when it's the most in danger of being taken away. And I think it's really important that we use our free speech just whenever, we're practicing that on a daily basis, right? That we're practicing that on a frequent basis. And that doesn't mean that you have to constantly be talking about politics. It doesn't mean that you have to constantly be, giving edgy hot takes and getting into debates with people. I think a lot of that can sometimes be a waste of time and energy. But what it does mean is just that you shouldn't feel threatened. You shouldn't feel like you're afraid to speak up about something. So it's really important that we exercise this right, because that's how we're actually going to establish our own free will. That's how we're actually going to be able to create new things and create new systems and institutions and build our own future. We have to use our free speech in order to do that, right? We have to use the ability to speak. We have to use our ability to say what's on our mind and to say what we're concerned about, to say what we're afraid about, and also on the other hand, to say what we're really interested in, what we really like. And I think oftentimes just because of social pressure, not just government laws, but just social pressure, we're often afraid to say that. Social media is also part of the problem too, because I think they've often made speech into like a competition for what can get the most views, for what can get the most clicks, for what can get the most likes. And that also means that like a lot of the most hateful and inflammatory speech is the stuff that actually gets promoted. And that's a separate problem. Again, that doesn't mean that people don't have the right to say things that are inflammatory, that, get people riled up, but it is a problem. Unfortunately, I think that can kind of sour a lot of people on the idea of free speech, but it also doesn't make free speech any less important. It's the ultimate right, because if you can't speak, you can't do anything else. You can't protest for any of the rights if you're not allowed to protest. You can't vote, you can't assemble if you're saying, I want to do this, and then they say you can't do that. Free speech is the ultimate right. It's something that was not granted to us just by the U.S. government or by any government. It's something that people have been doing since the beginning of time, and also since the beginning of human civilization has been people trying to take away that right because either they're scared of the consequences or because they want to clamp down on free speech for their own power. So it's very important that we exercise our free speech because that's how we're actually going to protect it. All right, this is Doug here, my little ramble. Thank you.